Our game this year, so our SNOG, marry, avoid, or buy, hold, sell is the equivalent in the FPL world. So this is a man that we've just talked about a lot on the podcast this week. So the first name that I'm kind of looking to get in over the next few weeks is Heung-min Son. It'll be interesting to see. Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, it's a bit of a heartthrob in South Korea, isn't it? You might have to join the queue to try and snog
Yeah.
Son. I think he's got a lot of he's got a lot of female admirers out in that part of the world. They might come for you in the comments.
I'll have to push him aside, but the interesting thing will be if Mr. Harold Kane kind of gets a bit of form together, gives an alternative option, because I do think, well, going off recent form, maybe it's not a necessity, but I do think Tottenham, because if they don't start firing under Nuno, there probably will be a change of manager before that fixture run. So you're going to get a player and a more attacking team either way, whatever happens. I think, because I don't think Nuno will be kind of accepted kind of playing defensive football for that long. So I do think ahead of that run, have that in mind, that they'll be playing either better football under Nuno or they will have another manager in. And I just think, yeah, he's a great FPL asset over the years. Don't need to tell anyone about this. And also the interesting thing is the big chances kind of for Son this year are quite low compared to his points tally. But this is, we know from the past that him and players like Danny Ings, like taking into consideration how good of a finisher he is. So stats don't always tell the complete picture with Son. As long as if he's looking lively in a game, which for a few games at the start of the season under Nuno, when the form dipped, he didn't. But then the last game, he did look good again, didn't he? Got a goal and assist, I think. So yeah, one to look at, and one that I've got firmly in my radar for the next few weeks.
So you're snogging your Son, first time for incest on the podcast. We'll have to flag this one as for over 18s when we upload to the podcast platforms later.
Cheers for that. Yeah, so this is the stat that I saw. So Heung-min Son 7 points per game this season. Only Mo Salah fares better in midfield. Shooting more frequently this campaign. Yeah, shot every 27 minutes compared to every 46 last campaign. So almost as if Nuno's kind of building his team around Son. And Kane's more of a creator, which we saw last year. Kane's still not firing on all cylinders. Obviously, the come down from summer and what happened there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next year. I do think if Tottenham have a good game this weekend and Son scores a couple against, do they play this weekend? It's Newcastle, isn't it? I think people will start to jump on him. So yeah, if you want to get ahead of the curve, I think I was playing a wild card. He'd definitely be in my team.
So yeah, so would you do that over getting a Foden then, or like if you had to decide between getting Son or a City? Because I think the fact that he's so nailed just would tips it over the edge, doesn't it? If you have to make that decision.
I think if he can get there, obviously taking into consideration is a few million more, isn't it, than the City midfielder? But I think if he can get there, he's probably a no-brainer. Son.
Because yeah, like Rafinha and Salah are lots like in most people's drafts. So that, yeah, it probably does come down to. It probably comes down to between Spurs and City for one of the other ones. But yeah, let's get into your. Who you're walking down the aisle?
I've gone controversial this week. I feel like I'm fighting the Shane Duffy train every week, but I think last game week again he had 2 attempts on goal, shots on target, and he's top of all defenders. I think shots on target, shots in the box, and if he's going to get a big haul, it's going to be this weekend, isn't it, against Norwich? So yeah, it's definitely my starting lineup for this week. Obviously, people playing the wild card, Livramento is probably a more attractive option just because of the fixtures. But I still think he's providing excellent value at 4.3 years now. And in a season where there's not been too many success stories for me personally, he's been one so far. And I'm looking forward to that Norwich game this weekend as a double Brighton defence. But no doubt they'll lose 1-0 now, and I've said this. But yeah, just thought it'd be a bit different, mix it up this week.
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't have the best standards. But I think you could set your marriage prospects a bit higher than Duffy, I would have thought. But it's interesting to see where your head's at. But no, I do get what you're saying. I think probably gonna check his anytime goal scorer odds actually after this. See if they're tempting with the Norwich fixture in mind.
It's not a bad shout.
Yeah. And then you avoid the least favourable position. So
it probably was going to be Ronaldo, but you did Ronaldo last week. I just think after what happened, I was kind of burnt by the situation. I do think Ronaldo's got a better fixture this weekend. The interesting one around Sarr is the new manager bounce, isn't it? Like Ranieri could pretty much build his team around Sarr. You don't know what's going to happen, or he could revert to two strikers that he kind of Leicester was the last Premier League team he was at. Obviously, famous Okazaki and Vardy up top. But even in that team, Mahrez, well, that was his breakout season when he won the league. So I think if Watford are going to stay up, they probably need to get the best out of this man. So it'd be interesting to see what the Tinkerman can do to his tactics. But for now, he's someone that I'm looking to get out of my team, unless I probably will give him the next two because it's Liverpool and then Southampton, which is a decent enough fixture, I think. And I think if a new manager bounce is going to happen, you would notice with 2 games, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it was Liverpool last season. Well, not last season, the season before last, where he sort of announced himself in the Premier League, wasn't it? When he did he get a brace in that game or something?
Yeah, it's brilliant. 4-0. 4-0.
Yeah, it was a mad game. I guess also with Liverpool not having Alisson this week, probably goes in one thing going in Watford's favour. But yeah, I do think that the fixtures have definitely turned for Watford. That run that they had of Leeds and Norwich, and who was the other one they had? Leeds, Norwich, and Newcastle, where I think he scored in every game. I don't think he'll be able to replicate those kind of returns with the stats he's showing in the fixtures coming up. So yeah, all decent shouts.